everybody, welcome back to Record-ology. We're back at it again. So after I made that video yesterday, I'm sitting there enjoying the music and the take-up reel stopped functioning. So we may have a belt that slipped off, but another thing is we have verified that this damage up here on the corner was not there when the device was shipped. So this device sustained a hard fall during shipping, unfortunately. So, and that's why these are out of alignment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first take off the front plate. I'm going to check those belts again, maybe get some belt measurements. You can buy replacement belts. Then we're going to look at the back. Maybe we can retension the belts. I'm not 100% sure. Now when it comes to taking this apart, if you're like me, you just start pulling knobs off, and that's what I tried to do here. And I found out that these two knobs are the only ones that really pull off. This one actually is threaded on, so you have to unscrew it. It's like they've got every method for attaching a knob here. So if the knob doesn't come off by pulling, these ones are pull knobs, don't force it because you could damage something. And bear with me here. Take this one off too. And then this one has a threaded screw on that side. So I'm going to go ahead and finish taking this apart, and I'll be right back with you. And I figured we'd just do it together. I mean, why not have something to look at, right? I really try to avoid shows where I'm just sitting there babbling on. I was actually pretty frustrated with the 8-track show. I almost didn't post it because I hate just sitting and talking, and I wouldn't want to watch that, so I hate subjecting you guys to it. However, you were very gracious and said you liked it, which I appreciate because I don't think it's one of my best shows, but I want to make it entertaining. I mean, this is a show we're doing, right? It's not really trying not to make like history lessons or instructional videos. Like Techmoan's videos are way more thorough and like educational. Really, our show's about show and tell. Okay, so I got 5 screws to remove, 4 like this in the corner, and then 1 hiding right there. So let me take those off. And I'm not going to subject you to watching me remove screws. Then we're going to go ahead and look inside. Okay. Just like that. Oh, the inside. The backside of water for my Disney fans. Okay, let's see. Oh, yep, that belt. She jumped the gun there. Totally fell off. That's actually good, though, because a fallen belt can be repaired and replaced. So it's not snapped, thankfully. Let's take a nice, intricate look, shall we? Welcome to the inner workings of the 1968 Sanyo-built Sears tape recorder. By the way, something else that I glossed over in yesterday's show that I shouldn't have is this little guy right here. So if you see this, I still don't know, is it a pulley? Is it a wheel? This part, okay, I know it's a part. But this part right here where the idler wheel comes into contact with, just like on an idler wheel turntable, is ingenious because it's geared. So you'll see there's 3 positionings, the large, the middle, and this one on the end here. So that allows it to achieve the 3 speeds of 7.5, 3 3/4, 1 7/8, and it keeps that as long as the idler wheel stays intact and doesn't wear down. It'll keep perfect speed because of that. So I think that's really, really interesting. That where the idler wheel is, as you can see here, like tilt you down a little bit. So as I move, I'm moving this little switch down here. So as I move that, basically it slides it in alignment with one of those 3 positions. That's going to be the 7.5 inches per second. So, okay, well let me go ahead and I'm going to put the belt back on. And I'm going to close this side up. I may test it out a couple of times too. Let's go ahead and test it out once I get that belt back on. Okay, so I'm going to use this selector switch and turn the unit on over here. See how loose that belt is? It's really no wonder that it is doing what it's doing. And I wish I could tighten it. Like this can't be repositioned, I don't think, because it has to be in a certain spot for the idler wheel. But it's really no wonder the thing jumped. It jumped off this back here. But let's go ahead and test her out. There's that pin. Seems to be working okay. All right, let's put some tape on there. And let's go ahead and try. Under load. Still a little squeaky in there. Oh, there goes the belt again. See that? That is so weird. Say no to tetanus. Rubber gloves can be your best friend. Highly recommended. So it turns out there is no back panel on this unit. So I had to take all these screws off all sides, and then it just lifted out of the front. It is a completely metal chassis, everything's super heavyweight, boat anchor. Interesting inside, we've got the parts locator schematic drawing, which is pretty typical. And some opportunities to clean some things out, like this fan blade. Definitely needs some cleaning. No problem whatsoever. There's the motor. As you can see, it says Sanyo. Up here it says Japan. But check this out, this sticker down here. Isn't that cool? Hidden for years. Probably not seen by anybody since 1968. Okay, I have cleaned the impeller blades. This, by the way, is in direct connection to the motor output shaft on the other side with those stepped settings. Kind of interesting. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn it on, and we're going to see if this motor squeaks at all. If so, I'm going to give it a little oil. It's actually really quiet. I'm still going to give it a little bit of lubricant down on that shaft. And oops, a little bit down here without touching the blade. Perhaps the pulley on the other side is where the adjustment needs to be made. I'm going to turn this around. By the way, never work on electronics with the cover off. This is stupid. But that big motor is directly connected to this shaft. In fact, if you spin this, it spins that fan and vice versa. So, yeah. So since this can't be adjusted, perhaps that can be. We'll take a closer look, see what I can find out. Okay, it's in a neutral position, and as you can see, when it's in neutral, if the power's on, my floppy belt still spins. And again, everything's working fine, not under load, so I put the tape in. Let's see what happens when I try to actually put it under load. So far the take-up reel is taking up. That belt hasn't jumped. I'm going to go into fast-forward mode. Doing pretty good. I'm going to go back down into play mode. So far, so good. Now I'm going to go down into reverse mode. There's just not enough tension on that belt. This belt back here, so the pulley is spinning, but the belt is just a little too slipping past where it's supposed to be. So you can see that pulley is spinning. It's in rewind, or it's in fast forward mode, but nothing is happening. That belt should be rotating, which it's not. So if I push down on it a little bit, it bites, it starts to spin it. But that belt is too chunky. The belt is just too loose, just slightly loose. Rewind seems to be working. Again, we don't have too much torque, but it's because these belts are just a little too loose. I have this idea. With this fast forward belt slipping, there's a couple of methods, by the way. Some people say you put brake fluid on. Some people say you can put glycerin on. I don't even know where you would get that. And then some people say you can take the belts off and boil them. Sounds a bit risky, but I'm sure it works. I mean, I believe it. But I had another idea. What if I just took a rubber band and fitted it around that pulley down in that groove? If it doesn't obstruct the path of the belt too much, it might give it something to grip onto. So, what the heck? Let's give it a try. So I'm gonna force the belt off the path first. Oh man, you can see that belt cracking under there. Please don't break. Please. I'm gonna put it on the back. It would not take much, dude. Boy, this little piece of metal here really keeps it. Okay. I may have to take that off in order to make this happen. Maybe easier just to kind of put this on. No, it's definitely going to have to. Well, maybe I can. Maybe I can work this in behind. There is a mode that lowers that tension of this bracket down. So it's in a lower tension mode right now. Yeah. So maybe. The good thing about messing with a rubber band is I'm not out anything if this, you know what I mean, if this doesn't work. Okay, let me try to roll it back behind that tensioning bracket. Come on. Okay, cool. So I got it back there. Now, can I get it into that pulley in such a way that it works? Inch by inch here. I mean, belts cost $20, and you may be saying, why don't you just buy belts? But I'm way too impatient to wait weeks for a belt to show up. Okay, cool. So it's in there. By the way, there's a lot of forward and back movement on this, which doesn't really seem to cause an issue, but I mean, that can't be. I mean, literally the only thing keeping it from sliding all the way off, I think, is that tensioning bracket. I'm going to try and straighten that a little bit out, and then we'll give it a test. So I've got the rubber band down there in a uniform way. I was able to get that belt off. By the way, yesterday in the show I said that was a triangular belt, but no, it's a square belt just on its side. So kind of like a cassette tape belt. Oh, I got to get it underneath there again. Oh, don't break. Please don't break. Okay. I think we're good. Okay. All right. Moment of truth. Let us see if she fast forwards now. Helps if I go in the right direction down here. And lift the pin up. Yes. Oh yeah, I think we've improved the adhesion of that belt. Cool, dude. I wonder if I should do that with the other belt too. Okay, I think we may have success. So in attempting to put a rubber band on that pulley, which I was able to do, I dropped one down in this crack. This is actually a clutching mechanism. And I was freaked out because it went pretty far down in there, past this felt pad that's in between these two layers. But I think it's actually helped it grip, and it doesn't get in the way. It doesn't impede it when it's not engaged. So, and it's also quieted this down considerably. It's flapping less. So we have a winner on our hands, I'm afraid. I mean, I'm glad. I'm not afraid. I think we have a winner on our hands. Of course, we're not going to know for sure until we get it under load. So let me put some tape in here. Okay, I've got the tape on there, and I do hear a little squealing. And I think that might be that rubber belt that fell down in between those two pieces. So I may need to get it out of there. But let's try playing. Yeah, that rubber belt has to come out. It's that one in between those two pieces. Let's try fast forward and rewind. Oh yeah, baby. That's, oh yeah. And rewind. Awesome. Okay, that completely fixed that problem. Okay. Maybe. Okay, I got some more work to do. So, good news and bad news. I noticed that this guy over here seemed to come on and off. It's because it's missing its little screw there. And when I went to remove this one, the head just sheared off, as you can see. Completely sheared off. So now this one's going to do it too. The good news is I was able to easily and quickly get rid of that rubber band that I dropped in there. So I caused the problem. It's not a deal breaker. It basically means there's gonna be a little bit of play in here, and that's annoying, but it shouldn't be the end of the world. I would trade that problem for it not being able to fast forward and rewind. So, okay, let me get it back together. We'll test it under load one more time, and then we'll put it back together. Okay, so turning it on, hopefully one final time. Everything seems to be good. Awesome. Okay, so here's where we're at. It's going to be a work in progress, but as you can see where it's sheared off there, I have to have that drilled out. So I'm going to have to get in touch with a machine shop or a fabricator and somebody with a drill press that can, actually it should be a pretty easy job if they have the right tools. Drill that out, and then I've got to find a replacement screw, and this one has been missing since day one. Sorry for the focus, but I'm guessing that's why there's so much play on that left hub. And as you can tell, I can't do anything until I replace the one on the right. So that's going to do it for today. Very frustrated I didn't make further progress, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. So we shall progress, and maybe a few days till I do another video on this. Don't know when I can get somebody to do that. But once we do that, I think we've got it in pretty good working order. So if I can manage not to break anything else, right? Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy record hunting. We will see you tomorrow.